Okay, I'm going to kick off and get through this. If there's any questions, please hold them to the end, and we'll answer those as in a group. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. For those who don't know me or haven't met me yet, I'm Siobhan. I'm one of the co-chairs of the NZAGE, and my piece of work that I generally support throughout the year, obviously, is one of them is the awards process. So we're going to go through all of the information that we have that you need to know before you submit for awards. But of course, we are here to help if you do need some help as well as you go through that process. Okay, dokes. So first and foremost, the NZAGE Awards evening, which obviously everybody's one of our favourite events of the year, is on the Thursday night in between the 2 days of our awards, of our summit. So 29th of October, it's at HISO again this year, with huge thanks to our event partner, Jack. But obviously we've got a bit of work to do first before we crack into celebrating our winners and our finalists. So our 2026 categories this year, we've had one category change. Everything else is pretty much the same, a couple of small changes that we will talk through. But our two surveys, generally 3 surveys have been, why did I not check that? Sorry. Generally 3 categories are survey-based. This year we have changed Best Employability Service to being a submission-based award, and we will go through all the details of that. Best Professional for Employers and Best Professional Education remain survey-based awards. Okay, dokes. Some information on judging. The board and committee are not judging submissions. They're not involved in the judging process. They're not privy to who is on the judging panel. For submission-based awards, our finalists and winners are determined by independent judges. There is a different panel for each of our awards, depending on the area of expertise needed to judge that award. And judges obviously sign confidentiality agreements as well. So whatever they see as part of the judging process, they will not be speaking about publicly or anywhere else. Submissions can only be made by NZAGE members. This is where we make sure that we've got the right submissions from the right people. So Best Professionals, the 2 awards, Employers and Education, as I said, they're determined by the survey results. They don't require submissions. The employer-only submissions are for Best Campaign, Best Candidate Experience, Best Graduate Program, Large and Small, Best Diversity and Inclusion Strategy. Employer and associate member can submit for both Best Innovation. The Best Partnership Award must be a joint submission between the 2. And then associate member, Careers and Employability Services only can submit for the new Best Employability Service Award. As I said before, this was an award that was determined by survey results only. One thing that I will also just say while we're on that is that any winners this year, as usual, commit to sharing insights in a forum event the following year. That's part of our sharing with our NZAGE community, best practice and gold standards. So that's one of the terms and conditions that you agree to when you submit for an award if you are a winner. All right, a timeline for 2026. We have awards open today, which is very exciting. 21st of August is the date to submit any queries about your Innovation Award submission. So sometimes organisations like to just double check that they are submitting the right sort of thing for an Innovation Award. So we have availability for us to help with that. So that's the deadline for that. 11th of September is when submissions close. We have to close at 5 p.m. We can't take any late submissions because our judging process is quite tight. So 11th of September, 5 p.m, put that in your diaries. Mid-October, that's when we announce our finalists for each awards category. And on the 29th of October, obviously in the evening, we've got our awards evening at HISO rooftop bar, which is always a good time. Right, what to submit For each category, for the submission categories, it's a single PDF document per award category. Please don't try and submit multiple documents. There's a lot of admin that goes along in the back there around making sure that we've got everything together and in the right place to give to our judges. So a single PDF document. Please make sure as well that your file names follow the format: company name, award name, 2026. The criteria that we sent out this morning as part of our launch of the awards must be followed in terms of the content that you put in your award submission, and please don't go over 1,500 words. It is quite easy to see or judges have told me it's quite easy to see that when you go over that number. So don't do it. Submissions can include any supporting photos. Those photos do not need to be professional quality. It's absolutely fine if you've snapped some pics from an event or whatever on your phone and you've popped those in. Always lovely, particularly for the candidate for the campaign award, to see some of those. Tables and diagrams also absolutely fine, but please don't try and use them to circumvent the 1,500 word limit. It's there for a reason. Judges have to go through quite a lot of submissions and information and make sure that they are judging on the same basis, and that's why that criteria is really, really important. Please don't add any appendices to your document. What has happened in the past is that appendices have been used to sort of add information, and that's not kind of a fair baseline for everybody to be judged on those awards. So no appendices are accepted by judges now. And then obviously the completed submissions need to be emailed to the specific awards@nzage.co.nz email address. We have also got a checklist for each one of our awards, and we did that after a massive spike in applications one year. So what we're doing with that checklist is that it's literally there as a safety net for you, that you're clicking, yes, I've done this, yes, I've done this, yes, I've done this. We're not screening for content when we do the administration around that. We're just making sure that your criteria have been met and that you've adhered to the guidelines. You've included everything you need to include, that your naming conventions are correct, all that sort of thing. So that's what it's there to screen. It's nothing to do with the content of the submission of the awards at all. So one of those must be filled in for each award that you submit for. All right, so we're going to go into a little bit more detail about the actual categories. Something that you might find useful around what the judges have said in the past is that you really do need to follow the criteria. This is what they assess your application against. If information is missing, they cannot assess against that criteria, so you won't get points for that, obviously. And in terms of outcomes and statistics, that is asked for in every single category, and those statistics are really important, so don't leave them out. No appendices again, and I kind of labored that point before, so we won't do that again. All right, best campaign is the first category that we're going to have a wee look at here. It recognises excellence in an integrated marketing campaign. So it's about delivery of an employee value proposition. Submissions need to present the challenge to be solved and the strategy used and the X factor, I guess, that makes your campaign an award-winning one. It can include all kinds of marketing, so whether you've used print material, anything, any kind of communications, print material, social media, websites, your engagement strategies, your virtual engagement strategies, your campus ones, it's all in your best campaigns. So tell us all about your entire campaign. So the criteria there are split into 4 sections: your strategy, your visual impression, your innovation, if any, and your outcomes. So the strategy is very much what it says on the box. What were your goals and key intended outcomes? What were all of the components? What was the content that you used there? The visual impression is talking about how you presented, I guess, your brand and got consistency across the campaign. What made it stand out? How did it deliver that strategy out to students? If you've got any innovative or creative twists in there, then highlight those, because that's always nice to see. And then your outcomes is very much your metrics or any feedback that you've got on the campaign that demonstrate how the goals of the campaign have been met. So this award category is open to submission from employer members only. If the campaign was developed in conjunction with an associate member or another provider, then just use their, you need to put their name and their contribution into your submission as well. But that is detailed in the guidelines document. All right, best candidate experience. This one is recognizing excellence in the candidate experience during the recruitment process. So that can be for any early careers pathway. Your interns, your grad, apprenticeships, any of those can be submitted for on this particular award. Again, the criteria is split into 3 groups there: strategy, your candidate experience, and your outcomes. Strategy, what were your goals and intended outcomes for your recruitment strategy? Your candidate experience is the efficiency and the experience created by your process. Any innovation or special considerations that were built into that process, including but not limited to AI. And the outcomes, any metrics or feedback on outcomes that demonstrate how the goals of the strategy have been met. So this one is also open to submission from employer members only. And again, if it's developed in conjunction with an associate member, then please name them and put their contribution into the submission as well, so that can be seen. Right, best grad program. This one, again, this year is split into large and small. This is obviously the design and delivery of a graduate development program, recognizing excellence in that space. A grad program is defined as a formalized program of training designed to support a new graduate recruit to fulfill their potential. The program may include things like the technical, professional, or personal skills development that you've got going, and how that is delivered. And award-winning programs generally have outcomes for both the participants and the organisation. So again, 3 stages of criteria that you need to go through in terms of your application or your submission. What's your program strategy? What are the goals and intended outcomes? How you designed and delivered the components of the program, and any metrics or feedback on outcomes that demonstrate how the goals of the strategy have been met. Again, this one is open to submissions from employer members only. And if it was developed with an associate member, then please include their name and contribution in the submission too. So the large program there obviously is for 21 or more graduates, and the small program is for 20 or fewer graduates, but the criteria remains the same for both. All right, diversity and inclusion. This one is recognizing an employer whose diversity and inclusion strategy is creating meaningful change for their early careers pipeline in the organization. So that one is actually a really important piece of information there. It must be, there must be a very clear tie to early careers. So whether your program is either leading the charge for the organization in D&I, or whether the organization's strategy as a whole is being implemented in your program, it can't just be an organizational-wide strategy that doesn't have demonstrable impact on your early careers program. There must be that demonstrable impact for the judges. So again, 3 sort of stages to the criteria that you need to go through. What is the strategy? What are the goals? Key intended outcomes and how it's delivered in early careers. The delivery is the specific projects involved and how they're creating meaningful change. And then the outcomes is your metrics or feedback on your outcomes that are demonstrating how those goals have been met. Again, this particular category is open to submissions from employer members only. If the program was developed in conjunction with associate members or other providers, please include their name and contribution in your submission document. All right, best innovation. So this one's had a slight change around eligibility. So the award recognises an employer member, associate member, or employability service that has delivered the most innovative initiative. So this one's open to all members, obviously, to submit for. The innovative initiative, the eligibility criteria has changed there from being within the last 12 months to being that it could have been introduced and developed within the last 3 years. And that's just to reflect the fact that sometimes these things take time to implement. If it was launched more than 12 months ago, then you must show significant progress or refinement during the last 12 months. Previous entries can only return where there have been a substantial redevelopment or expansion or repositioning of a previous submission for this award. So it really has to be different. The 3 sets of criteria, or the 3 phases of criteria that you need to cover there, obviously strategy, what is the challenge or situation the innovation was designed to solve and the approach for solving it. Delivery, the description of the initiative, how it was launched and how it was implemented, and then the outcomes, any metrics or feedback on the outcomes that demonstrate success. This is the one where if you aren't sure if you meet the criteria, just reach out. There's an awards@nzage.co.nz email address there, but you need to do that by the 21st of August. Just send us a really short, maybe 250-word kind of overview and say, this is what I'm thinking of doing. Does it meet the criteria? Something else that I would mention on this one is that simply adopting an established technology or practice isn't enough for the Innovation Award. It needs to have been genuinely new, or there must be a material difference about it. Okay. So I know that this one is a difficult one. So if you do need help, or if you've got questions at the end of this, then please pop them up in the chat, or we'll get to that at the end of the presentation. All right, best partnership. This one is recognising excellence in partnerships between an employer and associate member. We're looking for excellence, innovation, making a highly valued contribution to development or sourcing of early talent. Up until now, I think that award has very much focused on the sourcing of early talent. So now it's development and sourcing. So that's a wee change there as well. Partnerships may have existed for several years as well. So we've also changed it from being just within the last 12 months to have been what is the measurable impact within the last 12 months. So it could have been a partnership that has been existing for several years. And that's a little change as well. So the criteria, again, strategy, delivery, and outcomes, the challenge or the situation it's been entered into to solve, and the approach for solving it, and then the delivery, how it was launched and implemented, and the outcomes, again, measures of success with the metrics or feedback that shows how the goals of the partnership have been met. This needs to be a joint submission from both organisations, but just pick one of you to submit it if it's easier, the employer member, and that's absolutely fine. Okie dokes. So this is our new submission award for the year. We've changed this from being a survey-based award to a submission-based award. And we wanted to really give employability services a chance to more fully demonstrate their work and the critical contribution that they make to the early careers industry. So we encourage all of our members to submit for this award. The judges are looking for a really clear evidence-led strategy that prepares a diverse student population to transition successfully into work and builds meaningful employer connections that lead to relevant work experience and employment opportunities. The judges are assessing the service as a whole and will consider its outcomes relative to the institution's size, student population, operating context, and resources. The service does not need to be new or innovative to be outstanding. So again, we've got 3 phases to the criteria: our strategy, our delivery, and our outcomes. Strategy, very much what you're there to do and what the strategic approach is to improving students' readiness for work and the connection with employers. The delivery, the components that form the basis of that strategy, that can include services, programs, employment relationship approaches, and then outcomes, obviously your measures of success, your metrics, or your feedback on outcomes that demonstrate how goals have been met for that particular service. All right, these awards require no submission. They are on the basis of our surveys. There are, so that's best professional employers and best professional education. These are free text answers in all surveys. Finalists and winners are determined by our statistician. They are independent and impartial, and they're based on the total number of votes that are gained as part of those surveys, part of those free text answers. Data cannot be adjusted for the program or provider size in these categories as the data sets are very small. Yeah, so those are 2 that don't require any submission. Just some more information here on the NZAGE Summit and Awards for 2026. Summit 29th and 30th of October at the Grand Millennium in Auckland again. Awards evening, the evening of the 29th at HISO. Tickets, we do still have some limited tickets available. Everybody's got onto it really early this year, which is fantastic. But we do still have until the 20th of August the 650 plus GST member and the 1,000 plus GST non-member tickets available. After that, those tickets go up. I don't think that there's going to be any available after that time, to be honest, because there's a very, very small number available at this point. And we don't have awards only tickets available due to the venue capacity this year again. So thank you. We'd really appreciate it if you could share your attendance at Summit and Awards 26 on LinkedIn. And we will have an August newsletter coming out with full details on how to do that very shortly. And I'm just going to close the screen and take any questions. Right. Okay, thanks. Sorry.
Can you see the questions, Siobhan, or do you want me to ask them?
I'm just moving screens. Hold on. Yeah, you can. If you could read them out to me, that'd be great.
With the shift of the Best Employability Service Award to be in submission, just some clarification from members. Who makes the submission for this? So the service, university themselves, or nominated by others? And then the second part, what counts as an employability service? So often universities have employability people within faculties, but they don't have a service name. So that's from Courtney. Obviously, they have the central, but Courtney's from the engineering, hence the questions.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be up to you guys, Courtney. If you want to submit as a whole group, then that's fine. But if you want, if law or engineering or business or whatever want to submit for their own, then that's fine as well. Just make sure that you obviously make that very clear in your submission what the remit of that employability service is there to do. But it would be you submitting on your own behalf. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does. Thank you. That's helpful.
Cool. Thanks, Courtney.
Courtney's also asked a question regarding the best professional. As associate members, we don't have access to the survey questions. Can we know what the question is for this award? Naomi has replied, they are different depending on the survey. For interns and grads, it's about impact. Anything more to add?
I will happily send these through, Courtney, just to give you the exact wording. I just don't have them to hand.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
And just to add, Courtney, so previously, for example, for the best partnership, I've submitted with particular schools at the universities, not the whole university. So hopefully that, I know it's not the same award, but again, obviously that's public in terms of when I've submitted because we've been finalists. But yeah, so I've done it with an actual business school as opposed to the whole university. So if you want to enter the best employability service for your faculty, then you can. Andrina has asked, we often underestimate our own achievements because we're so close to the work. What advice do you have for organisations that aren't sure whether they've done is award worthy?
So 2 pieces of advice there from me. One is read those criteria really carefully. There's a lot of detail in there. And obviously at some point you've got to back yourself and give it a crack. But if you really are unsure and you're worried about it, that awards at nzage.co.nz email is there for you. It's checked every day. You're welcome to reach out to there, not just for the innovation award, but if you just need a little bit of a chat and some help, go ahead and reach out on that email address, and we'll get back to you and give you some assistance there.
And just a note on that, so the board and committee do not have access to that email. That email is just run solely by Bronwyn, and she'll obviously manage any questions. So yeah, she will reply to you on that.
Abby, is there a specific survey that comes out voting for those other two awards? It's the intern, grad, and employer surveys. There's a drop down. There's a free text question in each of those.
Someone's asked about the tickets. So we've made the conscious decision a couple of years ago with regards to not having summit only or awards only tickets. The simple reason being is we sell very few of those in previous years. It just doesn't actually even make sense for a few tickets that we did sell for summit only and awards only previously. The vast majority of our members want to come to everything, and also due to capacity and just logistics, we've made it very clear that it's one ticket for all of it. If you do not want to attend part of it, that is entirely up to you. We've had people in the past buy a full summit and awards ticket and just come to the awards, or just come to the summit, or just come to day one, or just day two. But at this stage, there are no awards evening only tickets or even summit only tickets. And given that finalists aren't announced until October, just a few weeks out of the summit and awards, you need to make the call now as to whether you want to come to celebrate or not, or attend awards. Or you can wait to see if there are any tickets available, but very unlikely.
Right, Andrina's question: for organisations running collaborative programs with multiple stakeholders or partners, how should we best showcase shared impact in an award submission? Yeah, that's a really good question, isn't it? I know that there's a 1,500 word limit, but just do your best to sort of really identify, maybe in the delivery sort of section of that award, because most of them have got that same kind of strategy, delivery, outcomes pieces to the submissions. Really make sure that it's really clear who's delivering what in that space in the strategy. If those stakeholders are the ones just influencing strategy, maybe just put it there. Try not to repeat yourself too much when you've got a significant or complex submission like that. The judges do go through everything very, very carefully, so saying it once is enough. Again, if you're a bit worried and you want some one-on-one help, then definitely head to that NZAGE awards inbox and ask a question there.
And just on that point, Andrina, so for example, for innovation, organisations can enter more than once if they've got more than one initiative, and same with the partnership one. So as an employee, you may be working with multiple associate members, and therefore you could put in 2, 3, however many partnerships you want to showcase into that one. And feel free to come off mute as well. Hopefully your cameras are working. I think we accidentally turned them off during the presentation, but if not, you should still be able to come off mute if you want to ask any questions. I don't think we've missed any in the chat. If we have, just please let us know.
Just a note, I've popped an example of what the question kind of looks like from the report side for interns, if that's helpful. I know a couple of people had questions about that.
Okay, that's sorry, it's Andrina here. That's useful clarification. Thanks, Naomi, and also thanks for that useful advice, Siobhan. It's and Shaylin, that's appreciated.
Courtney's asked another one. Is there a criteria for this for the best professional education or employer, or can any education individual name, including academics?
So there are, just from the survey perspective, I'm not involved in the awards at all, but I am involved with the surveys. So there often are academics named in this. they don't usually have enough named to sort of get into the finalist category. And we do a bit, Talent Solutions as our partner does do, the statistician that is employed to run our surveys does do a bit of data cleansing in terms of name spellings and things like that to make sure that if someone spelt the name wrong or anything like that, that they're still included. So there is a real process to make sure that we're getting the right nominations in there, if that is helpful.
Great questions, Courtney. Thank you. Cool. Any final questions, anybody? As I say, that NZAGE, that awards at nzage.co.nz email address is there for you to use if you do need help. Don't hesitate. All right. No more questions coming through. So we will give everybody 25 minutes of their time back. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, as always, and hope you have a wonderful week ahead.
Thanks.
We can hang around for another few minutes in case anything does pop up.
Yep.